I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there...
If the Pramac racing rider is drawn to the Borgo Panigale's main squad, it will make Enea Bastianini, who is currently Bagnaia's tandem at Ducati Lenovo team, sacked. And here's the full news. This weekend sees the start of the second and final Motogp triple header covering Sepang, Lusail and Ricardo Tormo Valencia. The first pit stop is of course Sepang, which has weather conditions roughly similar to India, Indonesia and Thailand, where the heat will be mixed with high humidity, which is one of the handicaps Europeans are not used to. From Sepang to Valencia there are 111 maximum points up for grabs for all riders, especially for the top 3 riders in the standings, Bagnaia, Martin and Bezzecchi, who in fact still have a chance to become 2023 MotoGP World Champion. Bezzecchi also still has a chance because with 111 maximum points, he is 79 points behind Bagnaia. Although never say never remains, but almost everyone is focusing the fight only between Pecco, who leads the championship with only 13 points difference, with Jorge Martin in second place. Interestingly, there was a difference in approach between Pecco and Martin ahead of the Sepang race. Pecco Bagnaia, when asked by journalist Matt Oxley about what he would do after the race in Buriram, he replied that he would fly to Italy, to Tavullia. But what is also interesting is that in Tavullia Pecco admitted to Matt that he would not do any physical preparation on the motorcycle, although finally on his personal Instagram post he was seen doing flat track at the VR46 Academy Ranch. The rest of the time he just did the usual physical training and cardio and tried to focus his mind on the race. Unlike Pecco, Jorge Martin, as we can easily see on his Instagram post, went on a vacation to Bali. It can be seen that the two chose to do things differently. Martin chose to stay in a tropical country like Bali, Indonesia, which could then have certain advantages when he leaves for Malaysia earlier this week. The trip to Sepang is a short one, only a 2 to 3 hour flight where there is no potential for jet lag, and he will arrive with perfect acclimatization status as there is no extreme climatic difference between Bali and the Selangor region, the location of the Sepang circuit. According to TMC blog, Martin may have chosen this approach for strategic and health reasons. As we all know, he had serious problems with the heat during the race in India, where he suffered severe dehydration after the race. While Pecco's choice to fly to Italy seems to be more about finding his composure to face and get rid of the feeling of pressure in the remaining 3 races. Martin will certainly not remain silent, and the pressure will certainly be on Pecco. Pecco needs a calm state of mind to be able to bring that calmness to the track. He is renowned for being a smart, calm driver who rarely makes a ripple on the track. Pecco always shows his intelligence in analyzing problems and uses this intelligence by collaborating with Christian Gabarini to find every solution to problems on every race weekend. On the other hand, the hunt for the 2023 MotoGP World Champion is getting fierce. The Malaysian Motogp at the Sepang circuit, Malaysia, is one of the races to determine who will come out as world champion this season. Quoted from the official Motogp statement, Tuesday, the Malaysian Motogp, which will roll on November 10th to 12th, is also one of the last 3 races of the season, before the end of the season is determined at the Qatar Motogp and Valencia Motogp 2 weeks later. Francesco Bagnaia, Ducati Lenovo, still tops the standings with a total of 389 points, while his toughest competitor this season, Jorge Martin, Prima Pramac, is only 13 points adrift of Bagnaia. Bagnaia has the potential to extend his lead if he manages to win or stand on the podium in the sprint and main race at Sepang this weekend. If he succeeds, then the rider who is familiarly called Pecco also repeats his achievement last year, where he managed to beat his teammate, Enea Bastianini, at the same circuit. Meanwhile, Martin, who is very close to topping the standings this season, also has a great opportunity to prevent Bagnaia from defending the world title. However, Martin, who did it during the Indonesian MotoGP at the Mandalika International Circuit some time ago, must be more patient and tactical in order to reduce his own mistakes and increase confidence. 2 other riders that Bagnaia and Martin must watch out for are Marco Bezzecchi, VR46, and Brad Binder, Red Bull KTM, who have solid performances from round to round. Both have proven their worth with several podium finishes this season. On the other hand, Jorge Martin has become Francesco Bagnaia's main rival in the race for the 2023 Motogp title. However, he has no intention of pressuring Ducati to promote him to the factory team next season. If the Pramac racing rider is drawn to the Borgo Panigale's main squad, it will make Enea Bastianini, who is currently Bagnaia's tandem at Ducati Lenovo team, sacked. Ducati chose to promote Bastianini over Martin thanks to his impressive performance with Gresini Racing in the 2022 Motogp. However, he has not lived up to expectations since joining the factory team. This is largely due to several injuries that befell La Bestia during the first half of the 2023 season. He crashed in the opening round sprint of the Portuguese Motogp, leaving him with a broken collarbone. As a result, Bastianini had to miss 5 Grand Prix. The 2022 Motogp third-placed rider made his comeback in Italy, but crashed in Catalunya. La Bestia suffered a fractured ankle and right hand and missed another 3 race weekends. Enea Bastianini only returned to his Desmacetisai GP24 bike in the Indonesian Motogp at the Mandalika circuit. His frequent absences have resulted in him slumping to 19th in the standings, the worst of the 8 Ducati riders on the grid. Ducati officials have repeatedly emphasized that Bastianini will remain in his current position, as a first-team rider in 2024, given that he needs another chance to show his talent. Motogp rider Enea Bastianini has not been able to live up to expectations since his promotion to the Ducati Lenovo team this season due to more frequent absences due to injury. But recently the Spanish newspaper, AS, said Ducati might consider intervening to make Jorge Martin wear the red uniform of the factory squad, especially if he can become world champion with Pramac. To this day, at Ducati, we have never talked about this hypothesis, said one of the executives of the manufacturer from Bologna, Italy, as quoted by Motorsport. But if it does not move quickly to secure one of its best riders, Ducati is not impossible to be overtaken by other manufacturers. Keep in mind the duration of Martin's contract will expire at the end of the 2024 season. The rider from Madrid has full freedom to maneuver towards 2025 and 2026. Next year's transfer cycle is predicted to be busy because at that time the majority of riders are in the final season of their contracts. Joining the factory team in 2024 is certainly the fruit of his great performance this season. It's just that the ball is in Ducati's court. They are responsible for all decisions. They, Ducati, haven't told us anything, said Martin's agent, Albert Valera, about the possibility of his driver being promoted to the first team. Right now his client's focus is on catching up to Bagnaia's 13-point gap with 3 GPs remaining. It's reasonable to think the outcome of this season's championship will influence what might happen next year and give Ducati a headache. If Martin Natter wins the championship, it will be difficult for them to keep him at Pramac. But at the same time, it's not easy to explain to Bastianini to give up his seat in the factory team when he still has a contract. Unless the rider voluntarily takes a step back.